Over the past few years, we have changed the way that we consume data. We have all seen a transformation in the way that we watch TV, but the reality is that we don't. We all watch TV in exactly the same way. There is a screen showing those images, and we watch those images. What has changed is how we deliver those images. Bluware Fast is like the Netflix for your seismic data. The data that the user wants is streamed to Bluware Fast and delivered in a format the application can use. Bluware introduces a new service that builds upon our Fast product called Fast Enterprise Services. Your data is presented virtually, which means it can exist in multiple formats and can be read by any application. Now, all of your seismic data available on the cloud can be streamed into your workflow on demand. But first, let's cover a few key concepts of Fast. Fast is streaming seismic data from VDS into the format required for your application. Using adaptive streaming technology, the application reads seismic data in real time without duplicating the data, so it is available instantly with minimal data movement. Let's take a brief look at a typical Fast workflow. Our single source of data is stored as a centralized library. The data from Fast is delivered to applications as needed. Each application could require its own formats or performance optimizations, such as in the inline, crossline, or slice direction. All this information is presented as a virtual folder on the machine. The interpretation application then reads data from those virtual files, just as if the files were saved on a local disk. This means that the application does not need to change to consume data in and from the cloud. Looking at the user experience, the great thing about this is that the end user environment looks very familiar to them on their workstation. Now, let's look at a typical data workflow for seismic interpretation. Geoscientists will usually start with a post-stack seismic survey, which can be anywhere from a few to several hundred gigabytes. For interpretation, this data needs to be converted to application formats, such as Petrel, Paleoscan, or other formats. This adds another 800 gigabytes before the interpretation even begins. Some applications need further volume optimization, which can introduce another 400 gigabytes of data. Many of these applications also perform efficiently if you break things down into subvolumes. And after all of this data duplication, the data has exponentially grown in size, from a mere 200 gigabytes to an astonishing 2.4 terabytes, before even seismic attributes have been factored in. Fast eliminates this by streaming the data into the applications. All data is created from a single source. It is not copied or duplicated. Rather, it is streamed on demand. For data managers, this reduces a lot of data management challenges. If you want to learn more about Fast, check out our website and our YouTube channel for more information. Now, let's talk about a new product that gives a new way of accessing data from a centralized source for rapid interpretation. Fast Enterprise Services really takes Fast to the next level, allowing you to connect with data on the Open Group OSDU data platform and scale across multiple workstations. All authentication and entitlements are handled by OSDU. The potential that the OSDU delivers is a single central repository of data, including seismic data stored in OpenVDS. More vendors are endorsing it as the single central format for seismic data. What Fast Enterprise Services brings to the table are tools that enable data managers to make data accessible to the end user. In the past, data managers needed to copy data over at the request of the interpreters. Instead of manually copying data from one location to another, data managers can now manage how the data is organized through virtual folders. With the Fast client, hundreds of gigabytes of data can be loaded from any source, instantly on any device. All rights are handled at a central level, and this is what makes Fast Enterprise Services unique. Geoscientists can simply log in with their credentials and access data from multiple different sources. From the geoscience perspective, the experience for the end user is exactly the same. You can move your workstations to the cloud and move your data without disrupting your current workflows. Data is streamed only when the user needs it within the application. Let's take a look at how this works. For this demo, we will be using two geoscientists. One who has access to all datasets, and another who has limited permissions to a smaller dataset. The data manager can control how the virtual files are organized and who has access to them. All files shown here were pulled from the OSDU data platform on the cloud. Fast enterprise services can load data from any source. These could include on-prem storage from a network drive, an Amazon S3 bucket, or from Azure Blob Storage. It can also pull data from a combination of all of these sources. For demonstration purposes, I will manually start fast. In practice, Fast Enterprise Services is automatically activated when a virtual machine is turned on. Here, we can see that a virtual drive has been automatically added to our virtual machine with over 1 petabyte of space. In a matter of seconds, we were able to load 1.5 terabytes of data and over 40,000 individual files. These files don't exist. These virtual files are not using any disk space. It is only when the application is reading the files that the data is being streamed. Opening the drive, we also see the files have been already organized into different directories. These are based off of geographical location. Within the Bonaventure directory alone, over 600 gigabytes of data in SegWy, ZGY, and PaleoScan format were instantly mounted to our virtual machine. The data manager can neatly organize these virtual file directories, and this will be the same for every user. Furthermore, the data manager can also assign access rights to each dataset, such as restricting North Sea data to the North Sea asset team. Let's take a closer look at the fast workflow for a geoscientist on the North Sea asset team, where the data manager has restricted their data access to that region. Here we see we have all of our data for the F3 survey ready in different seismic data formats. We can load these virtual files in different 3D visualization packages. Geoscientists can freely navigate through their dataset as if it were on a local disk. To test this, we will use open source software with no level of detail support, such as Seismic, to showcase how efficiently virtual files load versus the same on a local drive. The first dataset here is from Fast Enterprise Services. Here, the geoscientist is scrubbing through opposite ends of the seismic survey quickly and efficiently. Seismic has no idea that it is reading data from the cloud. However, because of Fast, data can be streamed on demand. Now, we will load that same dataset from a local drive on the virtual machine. Note that the geoscientist can navigate through the data just as quickly and efficiently as the virtual data from Fast Enterprise Services. Finally, the geoscientist can work with virtual data just as they would in any business unit or asset team. Horizons can be picked on the virtual file in any interpretation package. Here, we will use a 2D auto tracker to complete the interpretation for the given F3 survey, and this can be used in any of geoscience workflows. FAST supports many formats, and it is possible to extend FAST to support additional software packages and internal formats if needed. There are several benefits to using Bluware FAST. The first is that it gives you a single source of data. It is a centralized library and created for all of your seismic data. It also eliminates disk costs. Data is streamed into applications without being written to file systems. You can also transcode to many formats. FAST supports many formats and is extendable. It is also backward compatible. The end user experience, applications, and workflows remain unchanged. And then finally, there is a performance boost. VDS is streamed faster than the data on a local SSD. Taking a look at Fast Enterprise Service benefits, there is also virtual delivery of your data. access to your entire Seismic library just as before through a virtual file system. There is also an entitlement view into your data. Data is streamed into applications without being written to file systems. There's also a seamless integration with your existing applications. FAST supports many formats, with the extensibility to cover more software packages and even internal formats. There's also streamlined data management. It is a self-service system of records that also mitigates duplication of data. Finally, there's also authentication. You can authenticate between your login and OSDU credentials using the FAST Authenticator. FAST enables data managers and geoscientists to maximize the value of their data. The cloud is available today with no need to wait. Organizations can now realize the benefits of the cloud by having their seismic data stored centrally in OSDU with the robust enterprise-ready service that are provided within FAST Enterprise Services. With this, teams can migrate their data, workflows, and workstations today. Start doing more with your data using FAST Enterprise Services.